Ooh, what's up, Internet? My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clarus.
This is our spoiler chat for episode 5, Blood Calls Blood of Wheel of Time, because we get nerdy nightly.
And we thought we'd share it with you.
That is right. Welcome back to another spoiler chat for Wheel of Time here on the channel. If you're wondering, is that grown man wearing an Ewok onesie? The answer to that question is yub frickin' nub, my friends. Clarus? What?
That's good. Well done, babe. I just was not ready for that. Wheel of Time. Wow.
Episode 5. We're now like heading towards the end of the season, right? Like last week's episode was the midpoint.
Yeah.
And now we're headed towards what the final confrontation of the season is going to be.
Yep.
What do you think it's going to be?
Well, remember last week when you were like, do you think they'll make it to the White Tower by the end of the season? And I was like, yep. And you're like,
yeah, let's start at the top of the episode. So at the top of the episode, it starts moments after last week. The whole big fight happened with Logain's army. Mm-hmm. Logain was gentled, and then I guess his army, then left.
Well...
Because they were really intent on getting in that cave, and then they gentled... Here's my thing. If you're going to gentle Logain in the cave, the army's not going to... We also didn't really see how big the army was. I was just a little confused about, I was like, okay, so I guess that fight ended.
A lot of the army died. We saw, the king died.
That's true, the king did die.
The king went down, I feel like most of the other people were done already. Couldn't protect him, so.
But then we get the first spoiler chat. This is a spoiler chat. Spoilers. So you've already seen the episode.
You've seen it.
We get the first funeral of the episode.
Yeah.
We find out that white is the color of funerals in this world.
Yeah.
That's why we're rocking the white lights on the RGB behind us tonight. We're filming this at 1 o'clock in the morning, by the way, so...
Yeah, just watched the episode, and we're like, let's frickin' go.
It's still emotional.
Ooh,
but
yeah.
we see a beautiful funeral sequence, and then we get the title sequence, also beautiful, and then we get text.
1 month later. Surprise! Which, look, here's the thing. I completely understand the decision. They are bringing everybody back together, and they cannot spend the rest of the episode with everybody all apart and season, with everybody apart and disjointed. They have to bring it all together. They have to wrap it up somehow.
Well, they could. I think that what's important, though, is in the opening episode with Nynaeve's mentor, they said that she walked for months to get to the White Tower. And so I'm glad that they did hint that it does actually take that long to traverse the world that they live in.
Yeah, they were on horseback, and it still took them a month, so...
Unlike my Skyrim playthroughs, they did not fast travel. I guess they did, actually. I guess a 1 month later kind of is a fast travel.
Yeah, you just get to skip all the
bits. You skip a lot of walking.
Yeah.
This is not the Peter Jackson cut of Wheel of Time, all right? I'm on fire tonight. I'm doing well.
Well done.
It's 1 month later. And we see Stepan on the horse next to his former Aes Sedai's horse.
Yeah.
Looking as distraught as Logain, who is very clearly gentled.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That actor's doing a really good job playing that. But I loved the duality of Logain losing his connection to the One Power was as devastating for him as Stepan losing his connection to his Aes Sedai.
Yeah.
And how important that bond is to him. And I thought that there was one particular pan in that next sequence where they were funneling into the city, or not funneling into the city, because we'll talk about that.
We weren't there yet, yeah.
But where they're crossing that one little bridge.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh, they're doing a really good job of showing those two things side by side.
Yeah, yeah, and honestly, now that I think about it, they hinted at the end of the episode enough that I should have caught on to it, and I didn't. But I think that made it hurt harder. I don't know. You know what I mean? I should have I think I should have seen it coming the way. Yeah, you probably did. But with the way they were shooting everything and with the dialogue and woof, yeah. So 1 month later they get to the White Tower. Finally, we get to see what it looks like.
It's nice.
Yeah, and also the city that Rand and Matt end up in is beautifully done.
Yeah,
Holy
Tal
cow.
Avalon, I think it's called.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
No, it wouldn't be Avalon. Tar Valon. I was so close. We're learning the names.
We're getting there, guys.
I was this close.
We're working on it.
So yeah, Matt and Rand end up just outside of the city, and Matt looks rough.
Horrible. Like you just went and had a hangover for a week straight and also had the flu at the same time. Like, it just is...
He looks like a heroin addict who's going through withdrawals while having COVID.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. He looks bad. And Tom is not there. He has not caught up to them, so we don't know if he's dead or alive. I'm leaning towards alive.
Yeah, they have not seen him since the Fate attack. I think that what's interesting about this episode is they set up this city that is like a city, and
with Mount Doom in the background. That was nice.
Yeah.
I mean,
the way they shot that too. I was like, it was very. They portrayed it almost the way that Mount Fuji in Japan is often shot for TV and film, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
But the city,
which Rand recognizes, but I guess we'll.
Yeah, you want to know why he recognizes it? Because he's the dragon. Here's the problem. Okay, so here's where we're at now, right? Who's the dragon? Right? Because it still could be any of them.
Well, they haven't touched on the age thing with Nynaeve yet.
Nynaeve.
Are you...
It's like Nynaeve. Trust me, I read the comments. YouTube commenters, I read your comments.
But we just watched it. I swear to God.
I promise you, I've been told in the comments so many times, it's Nynaeve.
Okay.
Or maybe it's Maybelline. I don't know. But what I do know is they get a very expensive hotel room that is not very nice.
Yeah, that's a questionable choice.
That's city prices. And
it's like being in Toronto. Jesus.
So then Rand goes to a bookstore?
I guess he goes to explore around, which, fair. I mean, you've been on the road for months with your sick friend, and...
Yeah, we'll go get food.
Maybe he did go get food.
I mean,
maybe. He's too poor to afford the food now.
I wanted to know why he was in a bookstore. It didn't... He gets to the bookstore and leaves the bookstore so quickly. He has, like, one interaction, and we're going to talk about that in a sec. But the sequence of him, like, being in a bookstore, seeing the book Egwene read, and then being like, I gotta go. And you're like, okay.
All right. Well, no, he had to go because the procession started.
And he saw Matt. I know. I was just like, well, why are you?
But no, they didn't explain why he was there, which whatever. But
he was there to meet.
It does, lead to a very interesting scene with an ogier, not an ogre.
This week in epic coincidences, the ogier who Rand tells about a braid, who then later is in a garden.
He doesn't tell about a braid. The guy just knows he's from the Two Rivers, and he knows that Two Rivers that's like... Oh,
that's how he figured it out.
He knows about the hair. Like, he very clearly has studied humans.
Okay. But so are you trying to tell me that in this world, the only women with braids are Two Rivers women?
No, it's just, it seems to be, like, from what we have seen of women in this world, it seems to be a very common, like it's a sure thing for Two Rivers people. And I'm sure there are other people who occasionally braid their hair, but so far the Aes Sedai don't really. They kind of have, like, intricate stuff.
That's fair,
the other, like, villagers we've run into have either been, like, up in and back in buns or down and wavy. What?
You have so much paint on you.
Yeah.
We were painting our new apartment today. That's why we're moving. So by the time we do the finale of these, we will have moved.
That's true. Yeah.
So
hopefully this comes off for the photo shoot tomorrow.
He meets an ogier named Loyal, who I loved. I was very taken aback by, though, immediately.
Yeah. So was Rand.
Well, because here's the thing. Up until this moment, there has not been any species that speak other than humans. Mm-hmm. The Fade come close. The Fade are clearly intelligent. The Trollocs are like...
They don't speak English.
Of a non-speaking intelligence, right?
Yeah.
But they're clearly culturally intelligent in some way, right?
Mm-hmm. Pack tactics.
So when this guy came into the frame, he wasn't different enough that I was like,
whoa, wait a second.
I genuinely, and I mean this is no offense to anybody, but for a moment was like, oh, they found an actor who has, like, some sort of, like, elephantitis or something like that.
Oh.
And they were like, oh, we found this actor who has this, like, really interesting look. Let's put him in the show.
Oh.
And so I was like, it seems like a weird choice.
Because he looks different, but not so different. Like, yeah, it takes a second.
It wasn't until he says that he's an Ogier that I understood what was going on, but I was genuinely sitting there being like, this guy seems really strange.
With like the flat nose, I was like, is this guy a faun of some sort? Because I didn't see his feet. So with the curly hair and the nose, I was like, maybe he's like, yeah.
But it is very strange to me that we've managed to get 5 episodes into this, and this is the first other race we've met. And we've been to different towns and different places, and everything has been very human and Earth-like. We have wolves. I mean, the Trollocs are weird, but they're minions of the Dark Lord. So you're like, okay, like they're twisted by magic or something.
Yeah.
The Fade are clearly like magical in some way. And so through the first 4 episodes of the show, we only meet humans, a couple of magic evil things, and animals that exist on Earth.
Yeah, it was definitely a surprise.
And so there was suddenly like, also in episode 5, over halfway through season 1, ogres. And you're like, I mean, okay. Okay, Ogiers. I'm fine with it.
It was a bit of a shock.
But it's episode 5.
And also, Rand was very shocked.
And we've also watched all the bonus content, and there's no Ogiers, there's no elves, there's no, there's not like the typical fantasy stuff. And so to just suddenly be like, another race, and you're like, cool.
I mean, I'm like super stoked to see what else there is,
Yeah, the door's open.
Yeah, if Ogiers exist, elves, dwarves, gnomes, any of those things are kind of up for grabs, which is really cool.
100%.
But yeah, definitely a bit of shock and out of place, and Rand is like, oh god. But then they talk for a bit, and they finally bring up this like red-headed trait. Because
because he's like, you're Ayuman or something.
I don't know what the term was. But I remember, I think I was talking to someone in my Twitch chat, about the fact that the red hair is relevant. Because in these first 4 episodes didn't think about it. But apparently his being a redhead is very relevant, and it was touched on in this episode.
Yeah, and weirdly, when they brought up that the person in the cage in episode 3 was a redhead, and that was relevant to his race, I didn't clock it. I was like, oh yeah, Rand is also a redhead, because that guy was all about his like up and down mask and whatnot, and so it makes me think like, are the Ayumans, or however it's pronounced, are they the swan people? And is like because
the sword,
Rand's sword has that like very distinctive animal that they like zoomed in. They were like, book readers, zoom in, this is for you, right? And they haven't touched on that at all since episode 1.
Yeah, but
is that relevant to who his mother is and what his actual race is?
Maybe, but the Ogier seems to have studied humans pretty thoroughly, to know like what traits come from which geographical locations. And he had that sword pulled on him and didn't recognize it, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
But if the sword just confirms the hair bias, why would he bring it up? He's like, oh yeah, of course you have that sword. He's already made that deduction.
Maybe.
It's just more evidence. I think
though Rand fights him on it, he's like, no, I'm from the 2 rivers. And he's like, oh, yes, you're this person from the 2 rivers, but you don't know you're this person. And
yeah. I don't know. I think that there's a reason why we don't know who Rand's mom is.
Yep, absolutely.
And also, because his dad is not redheaded.
No. Well, he was very gray.
Okay, his dad might have been redheaded.
But I don't think he was.
We don't have enough information to figure this out right now. But what I will say is, what if it's the like mixture of the 2 kinds of human, the eye human and the regular human, that makes the dragon reborn? I'm still on Team Rand as the dragon.
I know, I believe you.
I'm still, there's definitely a part of me now after this episode that's like, Perrin has wolf powers. And maybe that makes him the dragon? Should we get into their storyline? Because what the hell?
Yeah. I mean, not much else happens with Rand and Matt.
Yeah, Matt's sick and he's a dick.
He's sick basically, and then they do
not much else happens.
Nynaeve again.
That happens.
That's it.
That happens.
Yeah.
No, and then Nynaeve tells a great story about Egwene, about her defeating a fever through the power of
force of
inner fortitude.
Yeah. No, which was nice, but as far as like plot stuff, those are like the major things in that storyline.
They reunite.
But yeah, moving over to Egwene and Perrin.
They're with the Tinkers.
Yeah.
Following the way of the leaf, being blown about.
They see the White Tower. Yeah, they see the White Tower, and then those freaking white cloaks, or is that what they're called?
Yes, the white cloaks.
The white cloaks.
Before we get to the white cloak part, I do want to bring up: were the Tinkers going to the White Tower before?
They seem like kind of just traveling people. So I don't.
It seems. Yeah.
They were headed east already.
The 1 month time jump is the weirdest as it relates to them. Yeah,
because they're like traveling slowly with caravans. Mm-hmm. And so it is kind of odd that they would arrive there roughly the same time.
Well, and just that Perrin, if you travel on the road with someone for a month, there's a certain kind of relationship. And they do kind of have that, right? It is shown by the leaders towards them.
Yeah.
But... And yeah, I guess when when the Tinkers do band arms, I guess that is kind of them acknowledging that like they've spent a month with these people.
Yeah.
But that was there, especially because of how much we loved the Tinker storyline and the dialogue and everything last week. I think that's the month that I'm saddest about them skipping over.
Yeah, because I would have loved to have learned more about the people and the characters and the culture and how it all works.
And they might come back, there's 14 books this is based on, so...
Maybe, but I doubt that they will this season.
3 episodes left? They might be in the finale.
Maybe. Yeah. But yeah, the White Cloaks recognize Egwene and Perrin.
Because that guy never forgets a face.
He never forgets a face.
Never forgets a face.
So he's like, well, those are not your people handing over.
Child Valder.
Child Valder, that's it. Hate it. Hate him. And the Leaf people are like, no, you can't. They're with us now. And
we're going to play Red Rover.
Mm-hmm. And look, oh God, it like hurt me. Because the actor is so good, and I hate Child Valder so much.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's just, like, a sociopath who enjoys hurting people, and it makes my skin crawl. But, yeah, they don't condone violence, and so they try to form a, like, body wall, which really does nothing, because they get beaten down, and then Egwene and Perrin are chased by horses, and their buddy gets knocked out. I hope he's okay, because I really liked him. Mm-hmm. And get taken captive by a sociopath.
Yeah, and then they like very violently wash Egwene. That's a weird religious thing.
Yeah,
but then they don't wash Perrin, which makes it like extra bad. It was already bad enough. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that there's like anything's okay about it. It was awful and. Yeah. The actress sold the crap out of it.
Yeah.
But then they bring in, like, Dirty Perrin. I thought that she had to be clean to, like, be in his tent or something.
Yeah.
But then they bring Perrin in, and I was like, okay.
No, I have a feeling that
this is just kind of rapey.
Yeah, no, he just likes knowing that he put her in that position and that she's, like, clean in front of him. And yeah, it's gross.
I get that. I want to talk about his plan.
I hate it all.
Because I'm confused about his plan.
His plan is to... hurt people for enjoyment.
See, I don't think that's it, though.
I feel like that.
I don't think it's personal enjoyment. I think that he genuinely...
he enjoys it.
No, but I think that his enjoyment comes from... I'm not saying he doesn't enjoy it, right? I'm saying that I think that a significant portion of his enjoyment comes from being successful in his work and what he views as his work.
Sure.
And I just, it goes back, I have the same feeling, I had the same feeling about the interrogation scene in Hawkeye this week. And I'm not going to spoil that. No spoilers for Hawkeye if you haven't seen it yet. But it is interrogation writing where I'm not really sure what information the interrogator is actually after. Mm-hmm. And therefore the scene doesn't have a direction. Because she's like...
Well, we don't know what he wants, but I'm sure he does.
See, but I don't... But, like, he kind of got what she wants because she forces herself to channel later on in the episode.
Yeah.
But when she says, I can't channel, and he's like, oh, you're telling the truth. So I'm just going to start cutting up this guy until you start channeling. And then it's lucky that she does start channeling, but she's never channeled before. Like, she doesn't know that she can.
Yeah, she did the little bit with... Moraine. And Moraine backed off and she did a little bit herself, remember?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So she has at least, like, touched the one power, and so it is a bit, you know, it kind of makes sense. But
like, what does he get out of killing Perrin?
Well, nothing. He's nothing. So he is there as a tool for her to reveal her power so that he has a woman to murder. So
then this becomes kind of the crux of me and the White Cloaks right now.
Yeah.
They're very close to the White Tower. Like, they seem way closer to the White Tower than they should be able to get if they're antagonistic to the Aes Sedai.
They look like they were like a day's ride away or a day's walk.
That seems really close. For a band of White Cloaks who are breaking the law, and this is
Aes Sedai can't do anything about it.
No, but this is the problem. Who do the White Cloaks answer to? Who is the king? Who is the... Because I get that Liandrin has the scene where she says men have a lot more power in this world than they should, right? Mm-hmm. Or not more than they should, but men have a lot of power outside of the Aes Sedai.
Yeah.
What allows the White Cloaks to operate seemingly in whatever fashion they want, even close to the White Tower?
I mean, here's the thing. The Aes Sedai and the White Tower cannot do anything about the White Cloaks because they cannot go fight. That is in their vows. They cannot, like, unless they are threatened, like, they can't go out and do anything about it. And so I feel like the White Cloaks are probably working for a, like, religious figurehead that is working closely with, like, monarch nearby that we don't know of. Because right now there's nothing to stop the White Cloaks. So then, okay. They have, like, all the power to kind of do whatever they want to do. They have the numbers. They have the money, clearly.
But how? Like,
we don't know yet.
Is there any central government in this world?
So here's the thing. We haven't really been to any big major cities yet. This is the first time.
100%. I'm just saying that the way that everyone is operating is as if there is as if you can do whatever you want in this world. And there is only consequences within villages. And that, to me, considering the size of the White City, that doesn't make any sense. There is no way that you have a city that size in a country where there are just roving bands of different groups of people who do whatever the hell they want at any time, and there's no consequences if the Aes Sedai aren't personally attacked. And that's, I think, where the world building gets a little muddled for me, is when characters can kind of just do whatever they want, and it doesn't seem... It just...
Well, we don't know what the, like, authority of this country or the city, like, what their connection is to the White Cloaks. They might be full supporters of it.
But then how are the Aes Sedai allowed to operate?
Well, because the Aes Sedai are already there, and that's why the army is massing, and the Aes Sedai are getting nervous, because they think they're going to be attacked.
But that would be a good thing, because then they could fight back.
Sure, they could fight back, but
you can't attack the Aes Sedai. You cannot. Here, the only advantage you have, the single advantage that the White Cloaks have of the Aes Sedai, is if you can pick them off one by one. If you go at the Aes Sedai straight on, you're dead. There's nothing you can do.
We have no idea, and this is the problem. We have no idea what the scale of the White Cloaks are currently. We have seen one group of them. Actually, no, we've seen one big group split off into two smaller groups.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And so we don't really know what's happening down south.
The stuff in the south is done.
What do you mean it's done?
Well, they got Logain.
No, there's like a war.
Yeah, Logain against Gyaldin.
Wow.
You don't read our YouTube comments. They've informed me that the war that they were headed towards in the south, that was Logain attacking Gyaldin or however it's pronounced.
Okay, so I guess that war is done then. Yeah, I don't know.
And I think that this is... So we started this episode talking about how we have 3 episodes left. Mm-hmm. And what is going to be the conflict at the end of this season. And the problem for me is that the only thing that makes sense is the Aes Sedai versus the White Cloaks. And I don't understand what any of those groups meant. Because we're not going to do the Dark One. There's no way we're getting to the Dark One in the next 3 episodes.
I don't think we're going that big this season.
But then what is left, right?
What is left is what's going to happen to Matt, who really is the dragon, and also Nynaeve? Nynaeve. God, I'm like, I feel it's already like Nynaeve in my head, and now I'm having to like undo it, and
That's fine.
Nynaeve.
Nynaeve, yeah.
Nynaeve.
Yeah. Watch the two comments are gonna be like, no, nerdy, you got it wrong again.
Probably. So we have to figure out what's happening with her and what her choices are in the White Tower, and once they're all reunited, if they even like stay there.
Sure.
I don't think.
But there's no way there isn't a big finale.
I think, yeah, that would be a big finale. I don't think it's going to be between, like, the Aes Sedai and the White Cloaks. I think that that's too big for season 1 because we don't have enough information about either large organization. And that's a problem. Like, this, you know, we are being given one season. We have 5 episodes of a 15-book series, right?
Mm-hmm,
and they're introducing these huge, huge, huge concepts. And they don't have enough time to go into depth into all of them yet. And I think that we're like getting just like the touchstones and the introduction to them, because I think Wheel of Time is going to be a many season show.
Hopefully. I mean, I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
I think for me, I was hoping that getting to the White City would give us some answers on how things work. And we got to this major city that has no structure to it.
So I think that this episode, they focused on the deaths and the Aes Sedai and like how they kind of function and how they grieve and what's kind of what's happening in the White Tower. Mm-hmm. I think next episode we are gonna get more like politics, more stuff in the city, and I think we're gonna be given a better idea of how this world functions. Because I think with this episode they had too much other stuff going on of like interpersonal relations and dealing with grief. Which was beautiful. Like I like got all teary at the end, and I was like,
we'll get to the end in a sec, but let's finish off Perrin and Egwene's relation, their storyline, because we're in the tent. Perrin is getting filleted.
Yeah,
it's awful.
Yeah, it's awful.
And
his eyes start turning yellow.
Pulls a full American Werewolf in London, and I was like, oh, he's gonna go full werewolf, and I was so excited for it.
Yeah.
But he doesn't, because Egwene does channel. Mm-hmm.
But the wolves start attacking the White Cloaks.
But before that, she throws a fireball at Child Valda.
And it's like...
And his white cloak blocks it. And I want to know how.
Yeah.
And because that was cool. But you know what those white cloaks don't block?
Knives.
Wolf teeth. Similar.
Well, if he got stabbed, and then also...
It's true, he did get stabbed.
Wolf teeth, so...
Yeah, also, Egwene, if you're gonna stab a man,
this
kill
is
him.
Not the best.
No, it's a good spot.
You want to go a little closer in.
No, you want to stab down here.
But no.
Long heart.
Sure.
No,
it was on his right side, actually, so...
Look, my point is...
There are better ways to stab somebody.
If a man has flayed your friend, and you're gonna stab him, kill him.
Go for a throat or like a kidney.
I'm not usually an advocate for killing people. In this case, that's not a man you want to leave alive.
Or like right in the dick, you know, because he's never going to recover from that one. Like,
that man does not have sex.
No, I'm just saying that like...
He doesn't need it. I'm just saying he doesn't need it.
No, I'm just saying, you know, he'd feel bad about it for the rest of his life if he did survive.
I don't know that he would. I think that his sexual pleasure is pain.
No, I don't think... It's not about that. There's so many like veins down there, he would bleed out so fast. So many major arteries that run through here.
I don't know. There's more clothing too, right? So like if you were say you were to stab, he's got like his like little vesty plus. I don't know what undergarments are in this world, but they're probably thicker than mine, right? They don't have the micromodal fabric that you get from MeUndies at MeUndies.com. This is not a sponsorship,
We're not sponsored yet.
Damn, this onesie is comfortable. Go to MeUndies.com/nerdynightly to get a 404. Yeah. This website doesn't exist error code.
Because we're not sponsored, and they're not going to sponsor us while we're talking about how best to murder a man.
You don't know MeUndies. If you're going to murder someone, do it in MeUndies.
MeUndies, Wheel of Time collab?
The most comfortable way to murder someone is while wearing a MeUndies onesie.
I feel like you're gonna get like the least padding or like resistance either like in the armpits or like the taint. You know, like those are your like.
You are not getting to a man's taint. I mean, you could, but not with a knife. Like that. That's work. Going for his open throat.
The throat is definitely the best option here.
Anyway, the wolves attack. We need to move on from this before MeUndies calls us back and...
You like never wear our stuff on your channel ever.
We are sending a DMCA for our clothing on your channel.
That would be so sad because it's so comfy.
It is. Jesus, we fell off the rails here.
Anyways.
the wolves attack.
Yeah.
And it's violent and awesome and everything I wanted. And I was like, this is great. Mm-hmm. And then Perrin has his moment where he's like, nah, they're not going to hurt us. And she's like, what? And he's like, let's go. And then they leave.
And she's like, yeah.
What happens to him? Next week.
Yeah.
We covered Matt.
Yeah.
We covered Perrin. We covered Rand. We covered Egwene. We mostly covered Nynaeve. But let's get into the White Tower.
Yeah, we need to talk about Steppen.
And Moraine. Yeah. Well, let's get to Steppen last. Because let's end with Steppen.
Right.
Let's get to some Moraine Nynaeve. Because they have a great scene where Moraine's like, you're kind of here now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry about it. Not a lot we can do. But also, this place is the worst.
Yeah, and here's the thing is, Moraine is very much, like, very straight with her, and is like, this is what's in your best interest, and I would like to protect you. But she doesn't force her to do anything. Like, Moraine is very much like, I'm going to say my bit, and you are a person that can make your own choices. Which I think is really interesting, and I thought that their stuff was fantastic.
Yeah, and I think that Nynaeve, when she realizes that, I think that's what kind of is enticing to her. I know that she does, break out later, and she is still hiding things from Moraine.
She goes for a walk, yeah.
But I think there is a respect in Nynaeve towards Moraine. That's very obvious in the way the actress, sorry, I'm just gonna, Zoe Robbins. The way that Zoe Robbins is playing that is I respect you. I'm not necessarily gonna listen.
Yeah.
But I do respect you. I also really love the moment where she's like, maybe you guys should be scared of me. And Moraine's like,
yeah, she's like,
you're very strong, but you have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah. Oh, honey, sweetie, baby.
I do love, I know that discount Hayden Christensen is in the show playing Rand, but Anakin Skywalker is also in the show playing Nynaeve. Because she's Anakin Skywalker, right? Like,
yeah, but better.
I think she might be the dark one.
I hate sand. It's coarse. It's a rough.
First of all, I don't like sand.
Whatever.
But not important. What is important is Nynaeve. Nynaeve, she has a little bit of like anger in her. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious to see whether or not that gets softened by the organization that is the Aes Sedai.
Or worsened.
Like Leandrin says in her conversation with Moraine, without Moraine there to lead, but to guide her or to give her, whether or not the organization that is Aes Sedai will, much like the gravitational forces of the Earth, grind her into a diamond that is sharp and prickly.
Yes. Diamonds very prickly.
They're sharp.
I know. Teasing. Yeah, the fun thing about her storyline is I don't really know where it's gonna go, which is really cool. I don't know if they're gonna stay in the White Tower. I don't know if they all kind of reunite and try to do their own thing. I don't know if she becomes I'm sure she'll probably become a novice. I don't know where that's gonna take her. Like,
I think she might be the Dark One.
The Dark One.
Yeah. Well, because she's not the dragon. I can almost guarantee she's not going to be the dragon, right?
Sorry, you have
what are you
one
doing?
of my hairs just on your face.
We're filming.
Was better than it being in the camera, right?
So as I was saying, Nynaeve is not going to be the dragon. She's too old.
I don't think she can be.
So then that giant power outburst that everyone was like, ooh, what's that? I think there is a potential, because I think that one of them ends up being the Dark One. One of them ends up going evil. Of the 5, one of them ends up going bad. And I think that Nynaeve is a possibility. Because she's very angry. She already has a distrust of the Aes Sedai. And the Aes Sedai culture, as we see in this episode, is clearly kind of falling apart.
Yes.
Like, they don't inherently trust each other anymore. And there is an internal struggle that is kind of, is a surprise to Moraine. She certainly seems to not be as aware of it as her friend in that scene where they're eating the apple.
She's been gone for 2 years.
She's been gone for 2 years, right? And so I do think that, there's potential for Nynaeve to take a chance with the Aes Sedai, get drawn in a little bit, and, 2 seasons from now, didn't go so well, she's a bad guy.
Yeah, potentially.
And she's Anakin.
Honestly, yeah, I could see
Prequels,
that
man.
But we'll see.
It's like poetry, it rhymes. Like the wheel. We were watching, in the opening scene, they do the burial, and it's in a circle, and I out loud went, why is it in a circle? Oh, Wheel of Time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like,
you nailed it.
That quick in my brain.
You nailed it.
If I were to wait 2 seconds before talking, I would sound smarter.
Yeah.
Yeah. But our videos would have a lot of dead space in them. And so we get to probably my favorite scene in the episode. Maybe my favorite scene in the show so far. It is shot in the same style that grooms getting prepared for their wedding day is shot, which I found very interesting about the men helping each other dress. But it is the warders helping Stepan get dressed to say goodbye to his Aes Sedai. I have her name here. His Aes Sedai is Kareen. So he is getting ready to say goodbye to Kareen. And the four of them have a conversation that is so tragic and sad.
I know.
But full of bro love.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Yeah, I do. I loved that scene. I honestly loved all of the warder scenes. Like, the ones that stood out to me were that scene and then with Lan and Stepan at the end there.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
You know, those scenes were just so, like, human.
Yeah.
That's the best word I have for it. And it's so good. It was so well done. The white in mourning was really interesting. And what they did with the ring,
Mm-hmm.
where they, like, he, like, put it in, like,
Mountain.
yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. But no, like a ring of, like, gold. Like, it kind of went back into, like, the pool or, like, the wheel and to be used again.
I'm glad the Ogier was in the episode because it made it so much less weird when Gollum appeared in that moment and bit his finger.
Oh my god.
It fell. No, I'm joking, obviously. But no, I agree. I thought that was a really beautiful image. I for some reason thought the rings would be like... Because there's a moment earlier in the episode where Moiraina's like, he's strong, he'll get her ring back to the White Tower. And so I thought maybe, like, the rings were, like, objects of power?
I think that they might be. I think that they are just, they're more of, like, a connective power, which is why they all come from this, like, shared pool of gold.
Okay, I thought maybe because it looked like the ring that he put in didn't have the stone in it anymore. So I think maybe it is the stone in the ring.
Perhaps the stone is like individual and the gold is like the group.
Yeah, it was cool, and I also love we already talked about Perrin and Egwene, but I do love the moment that she went and took the rings.
Yes.
And that I think that her bringing the rings to the Aes Sedai is going to be a big deal when it does happen.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, so Stepan, he goes to Nynaeve and he's like, girl, I can't sleep.
Yeah, need that sleepy time tea.
And it's called goat's tongue. And that was a good joke.
Yeah.
That was a good, safe little joke.
Yeah.
Also, another good little safe joke in the dressing scene when the guy's like, my dad tried to murder me when I was 12. So knock it off.
Yeah, like quit your whining or whatever.
I was like, that's funny.
It was well done.
That is very much something that I would say to 2 men in my life and nobody else.
Yeah.
There are exactly 2 bros in my life that I would have that exact interaction with.
Yeah.
And because it was so intimate and personal attack, I loved it. I was like, oh, stuff like that shows relationship between characters, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. You wouldn't say that to just anybody,
No.
right? And so, it was so well done. And anyways, he gets the sleepy time tea, and him and Lan have a drink together.
They have a great conversation about foursomes involving 3 men.
Yeah, it was very funny. Or, you know, what's the line? I think she would have 10.
Yeah.
It was very funny. Like, just very, very well written, very personable. You know, it was such a good scene. And, like, and then Lan wakes up and he realizes he's been drugged with the sleepy time tea. And he finds Stepan's body.
And this bugs me a little bit, but Stepan, there's so many weapons in the room, and Stepan takes the second one in on the daggers.
Maybe that one was his favorite.
I don't know. I just was like, oh, that's so out of place.
But it's more noticeable that way.
Oh, I know why they did it. I'm saying, like, for my brain, I was like,
Wow.
Because if I
God
was...
damn it, Steppen, you didn't take the middle knife.
If I was Steppen in that moment, I would have been like, nah, I gotta put that one back. This one's fine. This one over here.
Oh God, yeah. So yeah.
Sorry, it's not a moment to joke about. It's so sad.
It hurt.
I make jokes when I'm uncomfortable.
It hurt. Like I was all teary, and I was like, oh God, I can't cry because we're about to I want to film our spoiler chat.
And I poured one out for Steppen, so here's to you, my friend.
Yeah. I was really hoping that he would stay alive. I loved the character. The actor did so well.
The actor's fantastic.
So many things that I loved about it.
Very attractive man.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then we have the most heart-wrenching funeral I have ever seen in my whole life. Just this beautiful raw emotional ceremony, which I thought was a really interesting. I don't know if it's meant to be a commentary, but in terms of men being emotional in our day and age, I think we're getting better about that. But that has been a kind of taboo bad thing for a really long time. Men crying or being emotional or showing emotion in any way. And this entire funeral process was about Lan. All of them, but Lan being the closest, grieving and just screaming to the sky. And I was like, oh God, it was so good, but it hurt so bad. Oh, they did it so well. And and the connection then with him and Moraine, because she has several times, well, not several times, but through this episode we learn that she seems to be concerned for her safety, and even it brings up that you can sever that connection with your warder, that it is a possibility. And the other Aes Sedai's yeah, don't even think about that. But you can see it in her face as she's watching Lan just grieve, that's what she's thinking about. She's I couldn't put him through this, and I don't know. I
don't think that's it.
You don't think so?
No, because interesting, because I immediately read it as she is just feeling his pain.
I mean, she is, but because of that scene on the bed, that was all that I could think about.
Interesting.
And I totally, she is very clearly feeling his pain, and that is part of their connection.
Well, and what's interesting about it is up until that scene, actually, I had thought that the warder felt the connection to, the warder could feel what the Aes Sedai was feeling, and that it was a part of them protecting the Aes Sedai was that if they were in danger or something, they would sense it and they would feel their pain. I didn't think it went both ways.
Oh, interesting.
And so I found it really interesting actually to watch Rosamund Pike so beautifully play out what Daniel Henney was so beautifully playing out as a mirror of his portrayal of the moment. And I thought that those two actors in that scene, the way that they showed their bond, even though they're never in a camera shot together, right?
No.
It's two close-ups. Sorry, this is two close-ups. This is a man who spent too much time on set. The bond was so real, and the acting from both of them sold that moment. Because at first the funeral scene seemed a little silly to me. There was the throat singing, and then they started to bang their chests, and I was like, what is going on? And then as it swelled or swole, it really just got deep into me, and I fully invested. And I don't cry, never cry. I'm a man. I don't show emotion. Right, wife? When have you ever seen me cry? Name one time.
I mean, pretty sure you cried the other day. We were watching something. I don't know. The point is, you cry probably twice as much as I do.
I was hoping you would have a specific example, because there are some recently. I cried during this episode. Yeah. I cried during Ghostbusters Afterlife.
That's true. You
cried
did
like
cry.
a baby.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like the movie that much, but I did cry during it. I cried during most things. I cried during trailer reactions.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was a trailer that you cried.
The joke is I cry a lot, but the scene was beautiful, and it was a worthwhile send off for Steppen. Mm-hmm. Even though it was too early for my taste, because I wanted more of the character.
Me too. Yeah. But
so that's kind of everything that happened.
Yeah, Nerdy was like, I think Moraine might die. And I was like, no. And then by the end of this episode, I was like, oh, I think she might die.
I don't know why. I get the feeling that Moraine, Obi-Wan Kenobi's out of here at some point.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But actually, though, and I hate it. Because at first you said that and I was like, absolutely not. But the way that they are writing things into the dialogue, they're dropping little like hints, and I don't like it because I love her, and I will be upset upset if they do that to me.
And part of the reason why I do love Moraine as well. Part of the reason why I think though that it's going to happen is I think that I read a lot of scripts and like I watch a lot of things, and so there are certain storytelling things that I pick up on, right? Like the fact that I knew Seven wasn't making it out of this episode from the opening of the episode. I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to kill Logain and himself. I was surprised Logain made it out of this episode, but I am not surprised that Seven did that.
I think Logain is going to be around for a bit.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think that we are completely done with him yet.
Huh. I kind of think that, like, he's been gentled. I don't know what else he brings.
I don't think he brings anything as a character. I think he's going to be used as a device.
Oh, like in the political fight between the Aes Sedai?
Yes.
That's interesting. Yeah,
and
I can see that.
also influencing Rand and Matt.
Right, because Rand is very much on the, like, I don't know if I want to take Matt there because he'll be gentled. And
Yeah. I don't think we're done with him yet.
I think that the way that this episode is set up foreshadows the idea that Lan is going to lose Moraine, and he's going to have to make a different choice than Steppen did.
Yeah. Exactly.
And there's just something about the way the storytelling of this episode played out that it seemed very much pointed at Lan needing to learn a lesson. And he's my favorite character. He's one of my favorite characters, like, in anything.
Yeah.
I love him so much.
Yeah. He's amazing.
I genuinely, like, it's not a joke. I'm not memeing. Like, I really do think that Lan is... I've immediately connected to this character in a way that I don't really understand why yet. I think I'll get there by the end of the season, but it's not just Daniel Henry's performance, which is incredible.
It's everything.
But there's something I think that, like, kind of like whiny, not whiny, but like brooding.
Not whiny, no.
No, not whiny, but like brooding. I mean, Maureen Sarah calls him brooding. There's something about the like brooding, lonely traveler archetype that I think that I see a lot of myself in.
He seems very Jedi-like.
Yeah. But I don't know. This episode really gave me the idea that Lan is going to have to overcome the thing that Steppen couldn't here. And I'm not ready for that, because when Lan's heart breaks, my heart is going to break.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you do.
Yeah,
it's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be tough. This show is so good so far, and like, it's like what I look forward to. It's like the bit of content that I look forward to every week.
We're at 50 minutes.
Oops, sorry, y'all. Anyways,
if you're still watching, I want to ask you some final questions.
Okay.
In terms of episodes so far, where does this rank for you?
Oh, that end bit kind of like put it over the top for me. I think that 4 is still my favorite, but
this has the best scenes.
Yes, yes, it has the best individual scenes.
I agree with that. I think that 4 is still the best episode, but this one has more emotional turmoil for me personally.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to feel this right now.
Yeah.
I need happy stuff. Can we watch a Christmas movie?
All right, next question.
The next question, who do you think the Dragon Reborn is? Who's your guess? I'm going Rand.
I know.
Just because he took down that door, and he has a bow and arrow, but he never uses it for anything. He's going to use that bow and arrow at some point.
I don't know. I honestly kind of think it's Egwene.
Oh, you think it's the lady?
Yeah, I mean, look, like, they're kind of setting up the name.
Then Rand can be her warder. That's cute. That way she gets to do the magic stuff that she wanted in the pilot, and then he still gets the sexy time with her that he wanted in the pilot. They
true.
Both get what they want.
Yeah.
Maybe neither of them are. Maybe it's Matt or Perrin, but she becomes Aes Sedai, he becomes her warder.
The one person I don't think it is Perrin, because this like Beastmaster thing doesn't. We don't see it as the one power in the way we've been shown the one power before.
Yeah, but we're told that the one power when men control it is feral.
Sure.
Like, that's the thing, like, is that it's like this feral thing that needs to be tamed.
But we saw...
We learned that in the animated side. If you want to see our reaction to the animated shows, also in the Wheel of Time playlist on our YouTube channel.
But we saw Logain use the one power. And so...
Mm-hmm.
If that's what the one power looks like, I don't know. I don't think it's apparent.
Okay. I you know what I think? I think it's Rand. Although I do like this new, like, Egwene becomes an Aes Sedai and Rand is her warder. Mm-hmm. Although maybe he can be the Dragon Reborn and a warder. I don't know. The dragon can do things other people can't do, right?
I don't know.
Final question. The 1 month later. Mm-hmm. I should have asked this earlier, but 1 month later. Do you think that there's a bunch of book stuff that is skipped in that? They were like, that's not important to the show.
Potentially, yeah. When you're taking things from literature into the screen, like you have to cut out stuff. You know, things read much faster than when you're making a show or a movie. You have to keep people's attention, and you have significantly less time to do it. It takes hours and hours and hours and hours to read books, and you cannot do that in a show or a movie in the same way. I think there's definitely stuff that was cut out that we'll find out when we read the books.
Which we're gonna do in chunks after there will be a weekly Wheel of Time video after the finale, y'all. We're gonna read the books.
Yeah, in January.
It's gonna take time. Mm-hmm. We're gonna do it like one chunk of book at a time.
Yeah.
We'll probably do a book a month is our goal. And if you come back tomorrow, if you see this day it comes up, it's Friday. If you come back tomorrow, Saturday, we're going to have our reaction to this week's Origins episode, which is the animated show. If you want to check out the other ones, they're in the description down below. Mm-hmm. Go check those out. That is right. If you've ever watched a YouTube video, you know that this one's wrapping up because you can like this video.
What?
You can also dislike this video, although I will say, not many people disliking our Wheel of Time videos.
Thanks,
so
y'all.
thank you for that.
It's nice.
You can leave mean comments down below. Leave nice comments down below. The algorithm god is hungry.
And we must feed her.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Support us over on patreon.com/nerdynightly or on a fanhouse.app/nerdynightly. Mm-hmm. Support us, follow us on twitch.tv/nerdynightly or twitch.tv/
clarusdracarys.
Clarus. And is there anything else we need to talk about?
No. Do something nerdy tonight, y'all.
Go channel, but don't do it in front of that one guy because he might cut off your hands.
Yeah, I'd like to keep mine. So
God, that scene was so dark.
We're gonna go to bed.
I'm tired.
Bye.
Bye.